Welcome back. All right, so there was an announcement shortly before the game started that the Edmonton-Montreal game was being postponed. Both Armia and Kotkaniemi ended up in COVID protocols. The question was asked of Bill Daly. I think it was Drager that asked him whether or not the game was going to go ahead, and he said, "Yeah, game's going ahead." I think what happened was they were both part of the morning skate this morning with their teammates, so they have to do contact tracing. They have to do their due diligence, make sure that the Buffalo, New Jersey thing that happened early in the season, they don't want that to happen again. So that game's been pushed back. We'll see if they're in the next game, if more guys get added. If more guys get added, odds are Montreal's paused for now, same as Boston. So there you go. We now have two teams that are paused. And for Edmonton, of course, that'd be frustrating because it's a 3-game set, and then you'd have to make that up some other time. But that may be what ends up happening. So it's the first time that Canada's gone through this, and there you go. And also, other videos weren't published on the channel today because I actually left the house. We went to the Van Gogh exhibit thing they have in Vancouver, which was kind of fun, and it was my wife's birthday today. So, wife's birthday, we checked that out, and it was enjoyable. It was nice hour out of the house. The thing is, it's an hour to get there, it's an hour to get back, so. And by the, and then you got to walk to and from the van, so you've got about 5 hours that I was out. So, yeah, it's about how that works. Or wait, 10:30, denominator, about 4.5. It's about 4.5. So, yeah, there you go. And I got back in plenty of time to catch up on what was going on. I didn't end up doing another news video because I had other stuff I wanted to watch and catch up on too, not hockey related. And here I am. Because by the time all that was done, the games were getting started. Okay, let's start things off with Buffalo and the Rangers. And so on the way to and from the festivities in Vancouver today, I was listening to NHL radio, because it's what I do. Yvonne thinks I listen to the radio just so I can argue with it, which probably is the case. But they kept talking about the Rangers and how the Rangers have a really good chance. And the Rangers are going to need a lot of help if they're going to get into the playoffs. And I just don't see it happening, but I understand some of the excitement. You've got Kravtsov coming in too. I get it. I get the excitement. So it was Hutton versus Kincaid. And as games go by, it feels like Kincaid, he has his up and down moments, right? Early on, Olofsson with a steal. He shot wide. Gauthier collided with Hutton. And that's the end of Hutton's night. So out goes Carter Hutton. And the replacement for Johansson is Dustin Tokarski. So how's that for a blast from the past? We are a couple of steps removed from either Jacques Cloutier ending up in the net or Tom Barrasso. I'm not sure which one's going to be higher on the depth chart. I'm figuring they might go back with Barrasso. But Tokarski was in for the rest of the game, and he played well considering how long he's been out of the NHL and all that. Shots were 6-1 for the Rangers 7 minutes in. Thompson gets the second shot for Buffalo with 5 minutes left. So, rough period for Buffalo. They did get a few more before that, though, before the period was over. No signs of rust from Tokarski. The Sabres get a power play before the period's out, but we go to the second period scoreless. And then it was a question of whether or not Skinner hit the post or whether or not Kincaid deflected it. Turned out it was both. Kincaid had deflected it onto the crossbar. So, nice. And then Trouba hits a post as well. So, yeah, posts, both ends of the rink. The Sabres controlled most of the early play, and they're rewarded for it as Asplund gets a goal from Sheahan and Olofsson at 3:52. Kyle Okposo was a scratch tonight. Asplund was in his spot. Turns out it was the right move. Tokarski then denied Strome, but Kakko, he scores from Panarin at 7:13. He went 19 games without a goal. So for Kakko, that's a very important goal. It ties it up at 1. We then get a power play for the Rangers. It becomes a 5-on-3 for 19 seconds. Tokarski catches a Panarin shot, gets the whistle. And then the next play, during the 5-on-3, Kreider, he scores from Panarin and Fox at 10:39. And, that makes it 2-1. We then get 4-on-4. Not long after that, for 1:16, on a call against Buchnevich. That would lead to a shortened power play for Buffalo. That's unsuccessful. Buffalo's power play has gone ice cold. Not that it's had a lot of chances. It's usually been 1 or 2 per game. But it's been a while since they got a power play goal. And then Fox scores from Zibanejad and Buchnevich at 18-18. Remember when Zibanejad wasn't getting points? That's over. Third period with a 3-1 lead. I'll be honest, I wrote off Buffalo. But Cousins scores from Reinhart at 109, and then the Sabres pressed. They showed, yeah, no, we want to stay in this. And then Skinner, he scores from Montour at 422, so Skinner's heating up. Yep, give him ice time. They need goals, right? Rangers then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Kreider scoring his second power play goal of the day from Strome and Fox at 5:47, and that made it 4-3. And again, you get that feeling like, okay, so is that it for the Sabres? Kind of sort of is, as the Rangers controlled a lot of that final period. Skinner tested Kincaid late. Kakko was then denied at the other end, as was Panarin. Again, I thought Tokarski, considering how long he's been out and that he wasn't as expected to play tonight, did pretty well. Goalie pull with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. That allows Kakko to hit the empty net from Panarin and Strome at 19:02. So Panarin gets a couple of points. They actually had 3 points, all assists tonight. And the Rangers win 5-3. They go to 14-13-4. Buffalo drops to 6-20-4. Again, if Buffalo doesn't win a game before the end of the season, I will not be surprised. There was one host on the NHL Network, or one guest on the NHL Network said every night he's taking Buffalo because in terms of odds, eventually they'll pay out. And I'm thinking, but you're losing so many times betting on Buffalo that by the time you win, you're not going to make back the money you've lost betting on Buffalo. It just, you stop betting on Buffalo. Anyways, shots in this one were 10-5 in favor of the Rangers in the first, 17-8 favor. Don't go to Vegas. Favor Rangers in the second, and 13-6 Rangers in the third. Sorry. Final shots 40-19 for the Rangers. Power plays, Buffalo goes 0-2 and the Rangers go 2-3. Carter Hutton saved 2 shots. He was out. Tokarski saved 33 out of 37. Again, I thought he played well. And Kincaid at the other end, saving 16 out of 19. It feels like we're seeing so many goaltenders this year. It feels like a regular season of goaltenders we've already had, and we've only played like roughly 30-some games per team. And it just feels like we've had a ton of goaltenders for everybody. Just, 4, 5, 6. It just feels like there's a ton of goalies. All right, moving along. Carolina. Apparently Carolina, they took to heart what happened with Columbus in the last game, and they didn't allow it to happen again. This is one of the reasons why Carolina is seen as a contender this year. They don't generally lose back-to-back. They don't have mediocre effort from one night to the next. Tonight was really, really strong. Now, Columbus was wearing their Cannon jerseys, so to their credit, they were wearing their best jerseys, and they are. Early power play for the Canes, and then we get 22 seconds of 5-on-3. Svechnikov hit the side of the net. The 5-on-3 was killed, and Columbus would survive both penalties. But Brady Shea scores from Aho and Fast at 9:13. This was a game that was very much dominated by Carolina. It doesn't hurt having a 5-on-3 to make that happen, but the shots were 8-2 for Carolina with 8 minutes left, and they were pretty much in control. Bjorkstrand had a narrow miss with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. There were opportunities here and there. We go to the second period. The shots were 3-0 for the Canes at 2 minutes. Columbus then gets a power play. Shorthanded chance for Nachas, and Jones stole it off of his stick. So, good defensive play by Seth Jones. However, Carolina, they're good at those fast straight goals. Fast, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, that's fine. Fast scores from Pesce and Stahl at 6:39. And then a little over 2 minutes later, Marty Nachas scores from Aho and Hamilton at 8:58. Great goal by Nachas. Fantastic assist by Aho. It's 3-0. Carolina showing why they're one of the best teams in the league. Canes then pushed for a fourth. And Delkovich then came way out of his net to poke check the puck. This is a move of his that we've been seeing. Eventually it's going to be scouted and somebody's going to go around him and make him look bad. I don't think that's happened yet. But for now, it's spectacular. It's great. It's like a Marc-Andre Fleury kind of moment. Dominant first 2 periods for the Canes. Columbus got a power play. They need a goal. They're not going to get it. And there was almost a shorthanded break for Aho during that power play. So we go to the third period. And the noteworthy thing in the third period was how the Canes play it. 1-4 checker. Just one guy in, everybody back, and yet they're still generating opportunities with the way they were playing there. Nash had a break, and it's another poke check for Nedeljkovic when Riley Nash got close. So, well played game by Nedeljkovic. Shots were 7-1 for Columbus with 8 minutes left. And then it just cooled right off. Carolina didn't allow another shot for the rest of the game. Laine, ice cold in this game, had one shot. And it's getting to him. You can see he's starting to have some problems out there because the puck's not bouncing his way, and you can see it's bothering him. And rightfully so, because he's not going to be in a very good negotiating position with Columbus or anybody else if he gets mad and decides he wants his rights traded. How can he argue for a raise if he's not scoring any points or any goals? Columbus got a power play. That was killed off. And the Canes' defense was really good in this. They preserved the shutout. So, yeah, there were no shots in the last 8 minutes for Columbus. There was some good shot blocks going on, just really solid defense. The Canes win this 3-0. They go to 21-7-3. For Columbus, they dropped to 13-13-7. And I know one thing I heard a lot on the radio today is talk of who's going to get fourth in that Central Division. Probably a team that gets destroyed in round one, because there just doesn't seem to be a team right now from 4 through 8 in that division that looks ready to take on one of the top 3 teams, whether it's Florida, Carolina, or Tampa. The one that might look the most ready is maybe Nashville, if Nashville can get on a run, because none of these teams are exactly pulling away right now. The shots in this one, 11-5 in the first in favor of Carolina, 12-7 Carolina in the second. Columbus outshoots them 7-5 in the third. Final shots 28-19 for Carolina. Very tidy defensive game for the Canes. Power plays, Carolina 0 for 2, Columbus 0 for 3. Nedeljkovic, 19 saves for his second career shutout. Korpisalo, 25 saves on 28 shots. I can't blame him because, yeah, it's a shutout. There you go. Next up, why does Calgary have so many problems with Ottawa? Or does Ottawa just raise their game for Calgary? And that is a legit question on my part. I think it's probably a little bit of both. So early chances were in favor of the Flames, and I thought they played well. But Norris tipped one. Markstrom makes the save. Matthew Tkachuk was then stopped by Gustafsson. Yeah, first career start for Gustafsson. Again, as we're seeing goaltenders on the board that, like Tokarski, Kincaid, Nedeljkovic, Gustafsson. Over here, well, Sorokin and Elliott, fine. But still, right? We'll keep going through. I have to do a video on that about how many goaltenders we've had this year compared to other seasons, and it feels weird to me. But yeah, Mangiapane then had a chance that was denied, and then shortly after the halfway mark, Dzingel, his 5th goal in 9 games since returning to Ottawa. I'm telling you, if Ryan Dzingel doesn't re-sign and stay in Ottawa, he's crazy. It never worked in Carolina the way it's working right now with Ottawa. He gets the goal from Watson and Riley at 10:23. And the way he celebrated that goal too, like he's feeling it. He's absolutely feeling it. It works for him in Ottawa. The Flames then had a 2-on-1 right after. That doesn't go in. Then Norris had a chance that was denied. The Senators were controlling it after that goal. The Flames get a power play. That's killed off. The Senators get a power play. It was a good power play. No goal during it, but it was a good power play. So we go to the second period. 1-0 for Ottawa. Another power play for the Senators. That was a no. That was the end of the power plays for the game. That's it. Just the 3. Flames were being stymied by Gustafsson. Pressure by the Flames at around the halfway mark. Giordano, shot was stopped. Flames in complete control. The Senators at 2 shots with 6 minutes left. Yeah, the Sens really weren't getting that many opportunities. They only ended up with 4 on the period, too. The Flames were pushing late. Nesterov hits the side of the net, but it is still 1-0 after 2 periods. So the Flames had to be frustrated. They played very well in the second. This rookie goaltender kept them out. Third period, Markstrom stopped a chance for Riley. Gustafsson positioning himself very well. And it's noteworthy when you watch these goaltenders, just how ready they seem to be now. Comparatively speaking with before, it seems like back in the day, you could tell if a goaltender was in his first game or he was new to the NHL. Now it's not quite as noticeable. And Gustafsson really, yeah, you wouldn't know if nobody told you. Flames defense was pinching in the second half. They had gone at one point in this game, so with 8:17 left, they went 139 minutes and 10 seconds without a goal over their last, what? That's like over 2 games since they had their last goal. One thing I had worried about with Daryl Sutter was, okay, so the defense is going to be very good. Are they going to lose some of their offense? And so far, that seems to be the problem. They're losing some of their offense. They've got their defense. Johnny Gaudreau would score from Lucic and Nesterov at 14:54. It was a breakaway goal, and it was a great pass by Lucic, and that tied it up at 1. Doesn't stay tied for long. Chris Tierney scores from Riley and Batherson at 17:24. That made it 2-1 in favor of Ottawa. So the Senators play Calgary very, very well. Goalie pull with 2 minutes left. With 40.3 seconds left, the Flames call a timeout. And in the last moments, the Flames had their chances. Could not tie it. Final score 2-1. Senators go to 11-20-3. And for the Flames, 15-15-3. And now that 4th spot in the North kind of looks like the 4th spot in the Central. Who's going to get it? Montreal, Calgary, Vancouver, they're all kind of, I don't know. I don't know which one's going to end up getting hot and getting that spot there. For the Flames, losing these games against Ottawa could be costly. Shots, 13-12 Calgary in the first, 13-4 Calgary in the second, 10-7 Calgary in the third. They outshot them 36-23. Markstrom got Markstrom tonight. Power plays, Calgary 0 for 1, Ottawa 0 for 2. Markstrom saves 21 out of 23. He was very good. Gustafsson was better. 35 saves on 36 shots. Not too shabby for a goaltender who has already shown he might be a little bit NHL ready. And he's the 4th guy in there. Remember, you've got Murray, you've got Hogberg, then Decord, and now we're down to Gustafsson. And he gets the win. Like, it's no big thing. No big deal. Of course. It's just the number 4 goaltender. Crazy. All right. Islanders. This was close. They almost lost this one, and it kind of felt like Philly played the Islanders game, and then the Islanders kind of flipped that switch that the Islanders have at their disposal. First period, it was Elliott racing Barzal. So Barzal's rushing in to get the puck, and Elliott raced out to beat him to it. And it was kind of a mixed result, but while it was a scary moment, it doesn't end up in the back of Philly's net. The Islanders get a chance on a turnover. The Flyers, then ref turned over to the Isles. So the Flyers had it in their own zone, bounces off the ref right to the Islanders. And it looked like it was going to be one of those nights for the Flyers. You know, they're turning it over, the ref's helping them turn it over, this kind of thing. The Islanders get a power play. Leddy ends up shooting one wide as the power play came to an end. So power play is unsuccessful there. Sorokin having another really good start. Ilya Sorokin, again, he started kind of slow. He's definitely picked it up. Konechny was denied as the Flyers press, and then in the last minute, there were chances for the Islanders. So we go to the second period. First minute, power play for the Flyers. Sorokin stopped a chance for Gustafsson, and then there's a shorthanded chance for Josh Bailey. But Lindblom scores from Giroux and Voracek at 12:03. So the Flyers end up taking themselves a lead. Not too shabby for a team that has really struggled defensively. And you could see in this game, the Flyers wanted to pick up the defense, and they did. Didn't necessarily go great for them in the end, but they did. Their defense was definitely better in this game. Nelson had a break. He shot wide on that. And this was during a period where the Islanders weren't getting very many shots because the Flyers' defense was better. There was some back and forth action with 3 minutes left. Clutterbuck smushed Provorov, and it was clean smush, but he smushed him. I think everybody came out of that okay. Last minute, there were some chances for the Flyers. So we go to the third period. JVR had a chance that wouldn't go early on. And then at 4:06, Wahlstrom, who stays red hot, he scores from Pajot and Pelech. It's interesting, too, because before this season, I didn't want to say a whole lot about Wahlstrom because I was all in on being gung-ho about Wahlstrom for last season. And then it didn't work out. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's going to take him a little while longer. And now he looks fantastic. So there you go. That's the Wahlstrom that I believed in going into last season, and now here we are. Nice poke into the net by him. And then Obey Kubel tried to answer right after that. So the attempt was there by Philly to answer that immediately. Isles' fourth line got close to one around 9 minutes in, as they tend to do. There's more offense from the Matt Martin line than people might expect. Low shots in the third, And it really felt like overtime was coming, and that was with like 7 minutes left. I'm like, this game's going to overtime. There's not enough shots, not enough opportunities, and it feels like both teams are kind of playing back here. The Flyers press. They get a power play with 1:49 seconds left, but do not score, which means you go into overtime. There's 11 seconds left in the power play, and then after it expires, you have 4-on-4 play in overtime. Old-fashioned overtime. Both teams got shots. There were no whistles at all in that overtime, which was great. Those are my favorite kinds of overtimes. Chances, both ends of the ice, and the Islanders had the bulk of the play. In fact, Provorov almost shot one into his own net. Well, yeah, and that was, he was trying to get it, almost put it in his own net, but nice save by Elliott. And then Beauvillier, on a wraparound, gets a goal from Pajot at 3:41, and that was with no whistles at all in the overtime. So there was no whistle in the overtime, and the Islanders, their pressure eventually leads to a goal. So the Islanders win this one 2-1, and for the Flyers, that's tough because, of course, Bruins are off with their pause and everything. The Flyers could definitely make up some ground and, make things tough for the Bruins, and they get 1 point, but they don't get the 2. For the Bruins, or for the Islanders, those 2 points are important, and we'll see how things go for them the rest of the week. So shots in this one, 12-4 Philly in the first, 14-6 Philly in the second, 11-5 Philly in the third. But then in overtime, all 4 shots that hit the net were from the Islanders. Final shots, 37-19 in favor of Philly. So they played very well. They just didn't get the goals. Power plays, Islanders 0-1, Philly 0-2. So it was an Islanders game. There were only 3 total power plays. Sorokin, 36 saves on 37 shots, and Elliott, 17 saves on 19 shots. So, yeah, the Islanders get the win, and now I have to change boards. Now, this board has 1 game. Why? Because those games all started at 4. This one started at 4:30. The other game started at 7 or 7:30. So by having 1 game on this board, I didn't have to have multiple boards going for any longer than I needed to. This is the smartest thing I've done, and it took me 3 years to figure it out. Eventually, I figure these things out. All right. So, Minnesota. And this was a big game. This was a much bigger game than you might think because they're against the Ducks and all after what happened against Colorado. Really, really important that they bounce back, and I'm not sure coming out of this game how much this is going to help. This felt like a Minnesota game last year. So we'll go through it here. It was Miller versus Talbot. Miller needed a bounce-back game, too. He had a horrible game his last time out. So Miller looked sharp early. The shots were 2-2 at 7 minutes. So it was a tentative start for both teams, which, again, feels like Minnesota from last season. Talbot stopped a Fowler shot. The Ducks were pressing. Miller then stopped a chance for Nico Sturm on a break. Talbot denied Jones, and it was dueling goalies in that first period. Not too bad. Both of them dealing with breakaway shots. Ducks then get a power play. That was killed off. They got a second power play shortly after that. That is also a no. Both teams are known for not having very good power plays. That was on display in this one, at least to that stage. Second period, pressed by the Ducks at 2 minutes. Grant was denied by Talbot. Talbot then denied Drysdale of what would have been a beautiful goal. But Troy Terry, who has started to pick up his offensive game, he causes a turnover, and all by himself at 5:17 gets a goal. It's a nice goal on Talbot, and it was going to take a nice goal to beat him tonight. The Wild then get a power play after that. That was a no, so that didn't work. And then they got another one. That one did. It scored. Yeah, the Wild get a power play goal. Suter gets his first goal of the season from Hartman and Spurgeon at 16:21, and it's a power play marker. So for Minnesota fans who haven't been happy about Suter being on the power play, well, now he has a power play goal, so that has to help. Third period, early on, Bjugstad makes it 2-0 from Soucy and Sturm at 3:42. And then what impressed me here was then the Wild pressed for another. The Wild didn't start sitting back so much. Miller denied Hartman. He then denied Zuccarello shortly after that. The Ducks were under siege in the third at that stage. Bonino then exited after a puck in the mouth. I thought just for stitches. I think he came back into the game, but it didn't look bad. It just looked like he probably just needed stitches. Ducks pressed with 4 minutes left. Shattenkirk had a chance that missed high. With 2:14 left, too many men on the ice was called on the Wild. But the way the referee announced it was too many players on the ice, and I thought, what? I know that's what it is. I just haven't heard a referee that I can remember calling it too many players on the ice. It's too many men on the ice. It'd be like 2 minutes for hitting the guy with his elbow. Just say elbowing. Don't make it something. It's weird. It sounds weird. Anyways, with a minute 20 left, we then get a 6-on-4 as the Ducks were pressing, and yeah, it just wasn't going to go. Minnesota holds on. They get the 2-1 win. They go to 19-10-1. The Ducks fall to 9-18-6. They've been in better luck next year mode for a while now. The shots in this one, Minnesota was outshot by Anaheim in the first 10-5, but then they took over in the second. They outshot them 11-6. In the third, Anaheim actually ends up outshooting Anaheim 9-7. Final shots 25-23 for Anaheim. Power plays, Anaheim 0 for 3, Minnesota 1 for 3. I think the interesting thing too is that the Kaprizov line's kind of quieted down. Those games against Colorado, I don't know, they need to pick that up again. They need that energy, that excitement. They need to figure that out again, because that was a huge driving force in making Minnesota games a lot of fun to watch. Power plays, 0 for 3 for Anaheim, 1 for 3 for Minnesota. Miller, 21 saves on 23 shots. Like I said, his save percentage coming into today was .877. He needed that. Talbot saves 24 out of 25 and continues a pretty solid run for himself. Now I'm going to go to the board with the late games. Look, it's the panic index magnet. What's this doing on the board? Okay, so Vegas. So I know people get tired of me talking about how Vegas is good, but tonight shows that when they play a 60-minute game, and they did, that this is kind of what ends up happening. St. Louis did the best they could, and then it just broke. The dam burst. So first period, in the first minute, the Blues get a power play. That was killed off. And I'm just wondering while I'm watching this, like, if they're going to wear the gold helmets, they didn't wear them tonight because they weren't wearing the gray jerseys. Why don't they wear them with the gold jerseys? The next time they come out with those gray jerseys and the gold helmets, it's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to talk about it in a review again. I know the Vegas Golden Knights, somebody works there. I know watches my videos because they've used my sound bites in pregame stuff before. Why don't they wear the gold? Wear the gold helmets with the gold jerseys. It works. It doesn't work with the gray jerseys. Anyway, all right. Anyways, regardless of the helmet, they score. Marchessault from Karlsson at 8:41, and it was a face-off win and a goal, and that's kind of how fast they can get that. The Blues would press with 2.5 minutes left. Vegas draws a power play with 1:16 left. And yeah, that's how the period went. Vegas, very, very good in that first period. They come out of it with a 1-0 lead. Second period, much better period for the Blues. They did keep Vegas under control. Binnington with some saves. Blues kill off the rest of that power play. Stevenson flattened Perron. Perron stays in the game, but he just flattened him. I had to put that on the board. Blues pressed it around the 6.5 minute mark, and then it would work. It'd get a goal. Vince Dunn from Tarasenko and Schwartz at 6:42. Binnington then stopped a dangerous shot from Riley Smith at the other end of the ice. The Blues were shot blocking pretty well at the half. That's why the shots against from Vegas were much lower in that second period. Power play then for the Blues. That's killed off. And in the last minute, Shea Theodore tried to restore the lead for Vegas. He was denied. So third period. And this is where Mark Stone shows why he is one of the best in the league. He scores from Holden at 120. Now, it went in off Dunn's skate. All the goals count. They all have the same number of points at the end of the year. There's no half a goal or 3/4 of a goal awarded. And Vegas in the third, not giving up shots. Really, there were 2 good chances, I felt, for St. Louis out of the 3 shots. Tarasenko and Thomas had 2 very good opportunities when it was 2-1. And after that, nope. The shots were 5-2 at the half, so those 2 shots were in the first half of the period. And that was about as close as St. Louis gets. And then COL-ARI, he had a big night tonight. He scores from Hague at 11:19. That is his first National Hockey League goal. Kudos to him. He's been all around the net. He's had plenty of opportunities. It's nice to see him finally get one. Vegas then draws a power play, and they score on it. So Vegas' power play, which has been their Achilles heel at some stages of the season, not tonight. Karlsson scores from Stone and Marchessault at 14:56. So that adds to their lead. And then they get another power play after that. At 18:08, Stone adds another power play marker. That made it 5-1. Theodore and Karlsson with the assists at 18:08. So Carlson, a goal, an assist. He had an assist in the first. That's 3 points. Stone with 2 goals and an assist. Not too shabby. Vegas wins this one 5-1. They go to 22-7-1. For St. Louis, they drop to 16-11-5. The good news is the teams that are behind them struggle tonight too. So St. Louis doesn't lose any ground. Shots in this one, 14-6 Vegas in the first, 7-6 St. Louis in the second. In the third, Vegas outshoots them 15-3. Final shots, 35-16 for the Golden Knights. Power plays, St. Louis 0 for 2, Vegas 2 for 3. Bennington, 30 saves on 35 shots. Robin Lehner, 15 saves on 16 shots. Wasn't tested that much, but still, good numbers for Lehner. Good to see him get another win. And there you go. I always find myself rooting for Lehner when he's in the net. All right, next up. Here we go. So it kind of feels like this is the game that might have snuffed out the chances for the Canucks, and we'll see. But it kind of feels like that's the chance that's gone by the wayside tonight. First chances were for the Jets in this game. They press at 3.5 minutes. Canucks icing it, and really part of what happened tonight too was that the Jets have lost 2 back-to-back regulation games. They can't lose 3 regulation. They don't want to give the Canucks more oxygen in this fight. So what they did tonight was for themselves. It was to give themselves more space at the towards the top of this. And they'd already know that Calgary had lost. So they'd be like, okay, if we can win, we can draw ourselves out from Calgary. Montreal's not playing tonight. We can really draw this out. Canucks in their own zone too much, and they pay for it. Wheeler, he ends up getting the puck. He scores at 9:41. I didn't think it was a great goal for Demko. Demko had a half-decent night, but it shows that the Canucks have really been getting 2 things, timely goals and otherworldly goaltending from Demko. Neither of those things happened tonight. Post then for Hughes, the Canucks did try to answer. Hellebuck stops Besser. Brock had some good opportunities tonight. Demko then denied Wheeler his second of the night. Last minute press for the Canucks, but then it goes the other way, and Kyle Connor had a chance, and Demko robs him. So we go to the second period, and with Winnipeg not only ahead on the scoreboard, but definitely playing the better hockey. Second period, Ehlers steals by Hughes, so he got the puck, went around him, and Demko makes the save. Jets then got a power play, that was killed off. And then Zach McEwen had a chance at the other end. That was stopped. Jets press at the half. Dubois was stuck on the ice for roughly 2 minutes. The Canucks had it in their zone. Nobody could get off the ice. And then it just didn't happen. You're like, okay, really good. No, didn't happen. Power play for the Canucks. They couldn't get it set up. Couldn't set up their power play. Great penalty kill by the Jets. Then in the last minute, the Canucks had a chance. Tyler Mott with a nice opportunity. And that just wouldn't go. So we go to the third period. Höglander, impressive in the first minute of that third period. Not able to get a goal. Almost set up Horvat. And then Horvat took some friendly fire to his foot / ankle / oh no. He left the game. He exited the game. And so if Horvat's going to be out for any period of time and they're already down Patterson, I just don't see how the Canucks put it together after this. I know they've added Travis Boyd. Suddenly that looks smart, right? it's like Benning knew. Well, we're going to lose another forward tonight, so we might as well grab this guy. And it's a problem. I mean, Sutter wasn't in the lineup tonight either. Like they're down a lot of players, and it just feels like it's starting to turn into a Canucks season here. So VC had a pass that deflected out, I thought VC played well. He got about 20 minutes of ice time tonight, like almost 20 minutes. He got tons of ice time tonight. He looked half decent. I think that's part of what happened in Toronto. I think he's better off with more ice time than less. And then there's a question about whether or not he has enough finish to be in the top 6. I have no delusions about any of this. I don't have any delusions he's going to turn into the player he was supposed to be when he came out of college. But still, Canucks need bodies out there, right? So there's Benning. Lowry scores from Appleton at 2:07. Oh yeah, all that happened in the first 2 minutes. And that went off Hamonick's stick. So Hamonick unhappy with that one, and it's just one of those things that happens. Then the Canucks get a post. They only had 2 shots in the first 6 minutes. They had more posts than shots, I think. Hamonick then denied Connor of a 3-0 goal after, and that was shortly after Gaudette had hit the post. So, yeah, all right. Lowry would score his second of the period. He had 1 in 24 games. He had 2 in the third period. Kopp and Morrissey with the assists at 8:42, and it was a filthy assist from Kopp. Like, everybody figured he'd shoot from there, and he just passed it over, and Lowry put it in the empty net. No chance for Demko on that one. The Canucks did press after, but Hellebuck, with a 3-0 lead, looking at the clock and going, I could probably get a shutout. He did. Miller was getting the extra time with Horvat not out there. And Stastny scored from Scheifele at 17 minutes. And it was one of those things where the Canucks are trying to pull Demko. You're down by 3. You're not getting 3. Not on Hellebuck, not tonight. But Demko, when he's halfway to the bench, he has to come back. He didn't really fully get set up. And yeah, Stastny took advantage, as any team would. Gets that 4th goal. Makes it 4-0. And that's your final score. The Jets go to 19-11-2. Canucks drop to 16-17-3. And again, it's a matter of them having played more games than everybody else. And it feels like they'll run out of space. And if we're going to see Horvat out for any period of time, and that'll probably do it. Shots in this one, 11-6 Winnipeg in the first, 11-6 Winnipeg in the second as well. Both teams had 7 shots in the third. Final shots 29-22 Winnipeg. Jets 0-for-1 on their power play. Vancouver 0-for-1 on theirs. Hellebuck 22 saves for his 21st career shutout. Demko 25 saves on 29 shots. And the panic index, panic face, because Horvat's out. So, and then Schmidt looked like he got hurt in that period too, and it's like, come on, really? That's not. No, let's just not. All right. Next up. So Arizona at home against Colorado. And it's interesting because next up we're going to see Colorado against Vegas again, and I'm here for it. That's going to be great. Can't wait, because right now both teams, they look like they should clash, and we should figure out who the best is in the West. And I'll make this clear. Colorado's still a team I look at and I say they should win the Stanley Cup. It's still there. And when these teams play against each other, I mean, Colorado has a third that's a Quebec Nordiques jersey, so I don't reverse retro. It's a third, but it's beautiful, and therefore, obviously, I would root for the team that has that Quebec jersey they can wear. I'd recommend they wear the Quebec jersey at some point in their next couple of games against Vegas. So the shots were 1-0 for the Avs at 4 minutes, and this was the sad part tonight. You look at the final score, you'd have no idea that the Avalanche were kept in check by the Coyotes for about the first half of the first period. And Osterley blasted one off of Gruby's shoulder, so Grubauer. Sometimes in goaltending, it's better to just have the positional play down. Avs were at 2 shots with 7.5 minutes left. So again, the Coyotes are doing everything they can to make sure that they're just keeping them off the board until Bellemare gets a goal from Calvert and Comfort, 14-22. That was the 4th shot. Dangerous shift and a very nice goal for Bellemare, really. And then Rantanen scores from McKinnon and Landeskog at 15-28 on the 5th shot, and that's unfair. It's unfair that you allow a goal against the 4th line, and then Jared Bednar rolls the 1st line over. That's just mean. That's the 10th goal in March for Rantanen, leads the National Hockey League. Not too bad. Byram then hit Garland into the boards. One thing that's kind of surprised me with Bowen Byram is that, I mean, the offense isn't where you might want it to be, but the kid can hit, and he's got the physical side to the game. He's not afraid to drop the gloves if he needs to. It's impressive to watch. So second period. Our refs seem to be letting things go. They mentioned how, there's certain plays that, might have been a slash there, hook there, grab. They're letting stuff go. And then, no sooner have they talked about this than there's an Avs power play. They don't score on it. However, after that's done, Kadri scores from Burakovsky at 11:44. And, yeah, the Avs in this game look to be picking up where they left off against the Wild. And once they started getting shots, boy, did they ever get shots. It was nearly 4-0 with 6 minutes left. Ronta making the save there. Late power play for the Avs. That's killed off, so we go to the third period. Shots were 3-2 for the Coyotes at 4 minutes. Noteworthy because they were keeping Colorado in check. And through 2 of the 3 periods, they did pretty well in making sure they weren't allowing a bunch of shots. So that's something for Arizona. Coyotes turnover almost makes it 4-0. We then get a power play for the Coyotes. That, of course, is killed off. Avs get a power play as well. That's as now we get a bunch of them because the comment was made in the second period about, hey, they're letting stuff go. Nope. And then the next power play the Coyotes get, it actually is successful. Ekman Larson with his first of the year from Kessel at 16-19. So they're like, hey, we got to get 2 more. So they pull the goalie. Well, that allows Donskoy to hit the empty net from Jost and Nichushkin at 17-28. So they put the goalie back in, and then Colorado scores again with 11 seconds left. It's Donskoy from Nichushkin and Jost at 19-49. So same score as this one here. Colorado 5-1. They go to 28-2. Arizona 13-14-5. They lost out on a chance to get closer to St. Louis. They lost out on a chance to get themselves into a good spot to maybe overtake LA. And yeah, this is one of those games. So 42 points for these guys, 45 points for these guys, and the next game they'll go. I had no idea that was still up. I apologize for that. Sometimes it sits on like the lip on the back of there. Normally I catch that. I didn't catch that this time. I apologize. All right. I apologize to anybody's ears who wears headphones when they watch these. I'm really sorry. Shots 8-4 Colorado in the first. So they controlled the shots. They weren't getting very many themselves. They were outshot 21-9 by Colorado in the second. And then in the third, Arizona outshoots Colorado 12-6. Final shots 35-25 for Colorado. Power plays 0 for 3 for the Avs, 1 for 2 for Arizona. Grubauer, 24 saves on 25 shots, continues the amazing run he's been on. And Raanta saves 30 out of 34 in the net for the Coyotes. So the last game of the night, LA and San Jose. Another California game. I was really worried this was going to overtime and or shootout. Because California games on long nights like this tend to do that. It didn't. But it almost did. Got very, very close at the end. So it was Quick versus Jones. And Martin Jones right now might be playing some of the best hockey he's played in years. At least regular season. 2019 playoffs, he was good. But it's important that he gets his game in order. If he does, then yeah, that fourth spot in the division might be open. Kings have the early edge. The power play then goes to the Kings as a result. Not unusual for a team that has the edge to get a power play. The Sharks then got their own turn, and they get one shot on it. So that didn't work. However, Couture scores from LeBanc and Kane at 8:22, and that one deflected off of McDermott into the net. So, again, this is standard in the NHL. Defenseman in front, banks in off of him. These things happen. Athanasiou then had a chance that was sent to the corner. Gabriel and McDermott decided to have a fight, so McDermott puts a puck into his own net and then had a fight shortly thereafter. Kings, they get another power play. I'm not sure what kind of a Gordie Howe anything that is. I don't know if I don't know if there's a Gordie Howe, negative Gordie Howe hat trick. I don't know if that's the thing, but that, yeah. So, yeah, they get another power play. Jones with some saves. He saves one on Grundstrom. Another Kings power play. And the Sharks penalty kill, very good tonight. The LA would get a bunch of power plays. None of them were successful. Last seconds, the Sharks had some chances. We go into the second period with it 1-0 San Jose. Second period, Quick snags a chance from Knizhov. The Sharks pressing at 5 minutes into the period. Kings turned the puck over, and they turned it over. And it felt like they were turning it over a bit too much early in that period. Sharks power play. Things get kind of scrummy at that point in the game. Shorthanded break for Lizotte. Jones makes the save. Burns had a shot that deflected out. And the Kings defense felt like it was kind of sagging at that point. And then we're getting some chances both ways. And what had been a really clean defensive game was kind of opening up there. Back and forth action around 9 minutes in. Kings get a power play. That was killed off. And then Roy scores his first. So he gets a brand new contract and he celebrates by getting a goal. Wagner and Velarde with the assists at 17:31. So Velarde with a point. We'll see if he starts getting himself going. Just the 1 point tonight. We go to the third period with it tied at 1. Early power play for the Kings. That's unsuccessful. And then San Jose at the other end of the rink. Donato. He gets a goal from Leonard and Knizhov at 3:48. It may have gone in off of Quick's skate into the net. But yeah, they all count. And that made it 2-1 in favor of the Sharks. Couture then had a tipped shot that was stopped by Quick. Jones denied Kempe. And it kind of feels like Jones is in the zone right now. And that's, again, for Sharks fans, that would be really important. Dubnyk's been the better goaltender. If this team's going to make a run at the playoffs, they kind of need Jones to be the guy. And they do seem to play better in front of Martin Jones. Kempe then had another chance. That one went wide. Kane then fanned on a chance of his own at the other end of the rink. Post for Kopitar, Iafallo was denied. Kopitar likely still right now, as I'm recording this, thinking about how he almost had some goals in this game. It was really close. Goalie pull with 1:50 seconds left. With 1:44 seconds left, the Kings call a timeout. Kopitar had a chance with 10 seconds left, and he was robbed. How? Ferraro basically blocked out his stick, so he couldn't put it in the yawning open cage that was right in front of him. So, yeah, Kopitar needed a few seconds on the ice after the horn sounded. He clearly was of the mind that he should have put that in, and it just didn't happen. So, great play by Ferraro to preserve the win. San Jose gets the 2-1 win. LA misses out on an opportunity to get closer to St. Louis. They dropped to 13-12-6. For San Jose, they're 12-14-4. The odds of San Jose getting in, they're not great, but St. Louis isn't exactly setting the world on fire right now, and so it's possible. It's possible. If Jones can stay like he was tonight and was in the game before, it's possible. Shots, 14-11 for LA in the first, 13-8 LA in the second, 15-4 LA in the third. Final shots, 42-23 for the Kings. So yeah, Kopitar had plenty of reasons to look skyward after this one. Power plays, LA 0 for 5. That's a key stat too. San Jose 0 for 2. Quick, 21 saves on 23 shots. At the other end of the ice, Jones saves 41 out of 42. That'll bring your save percentage up nicely, Mr. Jones. All right, there you go. You guys are all caught up. Let me know your thoughts regarding these 9 games, where there was supposed to be 10, in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.